The German town of Walldorf in Baden-Württemberg has imposed a lockdown on pet cats. Owners have been told their cats have to be kept indoors until the end of August. That's like Shanghai, except for cats. This is all for the duration of the breeding season of a vulnerable bird, the crested lark, which is easy prey because it nests on the ground. Sophia Stoye is editor of the Rhein-neckar-Zeitung newspaper in the region. Sophia, tell us what the reaction has been, because that is, months of having to keep your cat indoors. People obviously, their cats may well be used to roaming around outside. How are people taking it?
So, hello, the people are frustrated. They are desperate. So the problem is that they told me, I spoke to the cat owners, and they told me that their cats are very, very aggressive, that they bite the kids, and that they just don't want to stay inside. And so the people are very, very angry, and they can't understand this order.
Right. Give us the other side of the argument then. Tell us about the crested lark and why this decision has been taken in Walldorf.
Yes, so the crested lark is a type of a bird. It's a rare bird, and it's situated in our state Baden-Württemberg. And in Walldorf, it's a city in Baden-Württemberg. You have 3 breeding pairs of the crested lark. So in the whole country, or in the whole state of Baden-Württemberg, you have 63. So it's a lot in Walldorf, and so the bird protectors say that for the existence of this rare bird, it's important to save, or that every couple survives, and other measures didn't work in the city. And so they say it's very, very important that now the cats have to stay inside.
And if your cat kills one of those crested larks, I mean, it's a life-changing fine, isn't it? Is it 50,000 euros?
Yes,
yeah,
yes. It's not. It can be 50,000 euros,
50,000,
but up to yes.
Sophia,
but it's a lot.
Are people taking their cat out on a lead? It's a sort of almost comic idea, but do you see people taking the cat for a walk outside?
No. Every person said that it's just not realistic to take your cat out on the lead.
Okay. Sophia Stoye from Rhein-neckar-Zeitung newspaper. Thanks for talking us through that from the experience of Walldorf. Domestic cats are regarded as a genuine danger to wildlife. You might have seen news this morning that researchers from University of Reading and Royal Holloway looked at predation rates and found that simply extrapolating them suggests that the 9.5 million pet cats we have in Britain may kill in the region of 160 million, right up to 270 million, possibly, million prey individuals a year. One man has been worrying about this for some years. He's Springwatch presenter Chris Packham. I spoke to him earlier and asked him if these numbers were out of the ordinary.
The thing is, they are non-native predators living at artificially high population levels because we keep one in every other house, or whatever the density happens to be in your neighbourhood. And as a consequence of that, they impact a disproportionate amount of predatory effort, if you like, in certain areas, generally where, of course, we are living with them because there are companion animals. And that's in suburban areas or city edge areas, and very often in villages which may be close to nature reserves where they could have a significant impact. I think we have to state one thing at the outset, Evan, and that is that the declines which we are constantly preoccupied and concerned about when it comes to biodiversity loss have not been precipitated by domestic cats when it comes to mammal and bird species. They've been largely down to agricultural changes, habitat loss, so on and so forth. The cats, if you like, at this point in time have become the cherry on the cake, and they are therefore exacting a greater pressure on those populations than they would have done so in the past.
OK, what do we do about that? This German town, Walldorf, locking cats up, basically, for 3 or 4 months a year for the next few years in order to protect crested larks. That seems almost cruel to the cats, no?
It is quite a draconian thing, and depending on the temperament of the cat, they will either take to that quite easily or they won't. we're looking at a species, crested lark, which is in precipitous decline in Europe. And as a consequence, every chick counts. And that's why they've decided to take this action. I think we have to, from this point forward, work far more closely with cat and, I stress, dog keepers. Dogs off the lead in our countryside throughout the bird breeding season also exact a terrible toll on our wildlife. So when it comes to companion animals, this isn't about the animal, it's about the people that keep them. And it's about us educating them, asking them to change their practices and to integrate that into their lives. We know the value of domestic cats and dogs in people's lives in terms of mental health and companionships. We're not trying to impact on that. We have to find a happy harmony here where we can live with our animals, which we love greatly, and live with our wildlife, which we love equally greatly.
Well, let's go through the specific things one can do. And I know people always laugh at this, but you can take your cat out of doors on a lead. Now, I don't know why it works with the dog. It doesn't work with the cat in quite the same way.
Well, as an adult animal, you might struggle with that. I mean, obviously, we train our dogs from a young age to walk on leads, and you would have to do the same thing with your cats. We know that cats can be trained to walk on leads, but it's not something that we regularly do. So that might be part and parcel of a suite of things that we do in some areas. Of course, there are many areas where the impact of cats is not so significant, but we definitely need to implement those sorts of changes.
What about bells around the neck? Because the idea is the bell makes a little clinging before the cat gets the bird to warn the bird to fly away. Does that work?
No, sadly it doesn't. It really seems to identify the cat, which has already got a bad habit, and the conscience of the owner, who has therefore fitted it with a bell to try and alleviate the predatory problem. So no, I'm afraid cats are sufficiently stealthy to be able to manage a jingling bell on their neck and still kill plenty of birds, mammals, and other wildlife.
Does it make a big difference if the cat isn't out at night?
Yes, it is. We've noticed in other studies that predation overall is reduced by 50% if you keep your cat in at night. However, largely the animals that are being predated at night are small mammals and not birds. And so that doesn't change the impact that the cats during their diurnal outdoor activities are having on our bird populations. But yes, you could reduce overall predation by keeping them in at night.
Why do cats chase birds? I mean, we had a pet cat as a child, and he would very occasionally catch a bird. Didn't seem to be interested in eating it particularly. It was really just seemed to be for the sport.
It's instinctive, not sport at all. It's about their survival instincts. And these are animals which have relatively recently been domesticated. And so those instincts are still there, that prey drive. And they don't eat the birds because they've been eating the much tastier food that you've been giving them. But that drive to predate in order to survive can't be taken away. So again, we have to exonerate the cats of all blame. It's not their fault at all. It's the way that the owners are keeping them. And what we must do in the future is ask cat and dog owners to look after their animals in a way which is far more responsible when it comes to managing their impact on wildlife.
The great Chris Packham there.